All right, me. Same day, just a couple hours later, I decided to also read the second book. This one called The Marvelous Land of Oz, of which I'm gonna take as like, as we get further and further into this, I'm going to assume that a lot more of the concepts and ideas for Wicked are going to start popping up. I've also never seen Wicked or read Wicked, and so I'm not super familiar with everything that goes on with it. But I suspect that a lot more of these intricacies of the Land of Oz are going to be shown to us. But the Marvelous Land of Oz, trans rights, the big thing here that happens is that we learn that the Wizard of Oz, in the first book, Oz describes it as being like he landed and then everyone thought he was a wizard, and so he had them build this city around him. In this book, in the Marvelous Land of Oz, which I assume is now going to be the more official of these timelines of lore, whatever you want to refer to it as, Oz actually in some way stole the kingship and the leadership of Oz from someone. I don't remember the name of the king. And now there is the Scarecrow who's in charge of it. And we start with a huge revolt happening. All of the young women within the Land of Oz have decided to revolt against the Scarecrow, basically for not giving them rights, right? That they are all still trapped within the expectations of a young woman during the early 1900s, which, yes, you should be upset at that, but then also then get portrayed as basically only wanting the money and only wanting the jewels and the emeralds that exist, and not really having a plan besides that. So, you know, score one, lose one, I guess. But what we find out is from Glinda, the Good Witch of the South, is that there is a lost princess to the original king, the king before Oz, called Princess Ozma, who has disappeared and has been hidden away. And once they find her, they will return her to being the queen of Oz, and then everything's all good, and everything can be resolved, and the revolt and war can be over. Well, it turns out that the boy that we've been following the entire time, Tip, is actually that Princess Oz, which, you know, once again, shout out trans rights, right? Feeling that you were born a girl but forced to be raised as a boy, and then becoming a girl, right? And allowed to become a girl. So, you know, trans rights. Yeah, very strange, right? I mean, this is very much the wackiness of the world of this being a children's book, right? We are no longer in this kind of you know, everyone has kind of this moral to them. This is very much a things are weird and things are strange, and that's okay. As I believe it is the Tin Man at one point states, you know, it is good that you are strange, because that means that you're worth company, which, you know, it is a much larger speaking to, but I think it also does speak to kind of a very important thing that we need to teach children is that it is okay to be a little odd. And number one, not everything has to be diagnosed as something, right? I feel that is something that we in our modern society, in our current society, choose to do a lot of, where if a person feels that they are not quite within what is societal expectations, they feel that there needs to be a reason for it, and then choose to diagnose themselves with something. When in reality, or not necessarily in reality, but a lot of times it's just people are allowed to be a little bit different, and that's okay. And then yeah. The other fun thing with this is that we get this this magical powder that exists that gets to bring forward 3 things to life. And the first thing that gets brought to life is effectively another scarecrow named Jack. Jack has a pumpkin head and has a body made out of wood. And Jack's a little bit of an idiot, but he's fun, and he gets along very well with the scarecrow, right? We also have the sawhorse, which was brought forward just to carry Jack around because Jack, being made so shabbily, has a difficult time walking, and the sawhorse carries him around. But the sawhorse is very courageous, very fantastic. And then we have the Gump, who is this flying creature that is made out of the head of a gump and the body of 2 couches and a whole bunch of leaves to give him wings, and things. And you know, the ending of this is the Gump going, yeah, I want to be who I was again. I want to be comfortable as I existed before. I want to be returned to the state that I was. So once again, trans rights. It's a very interesting thing that kind of that gets brought up mostly by the Gump is, I do not wish to be made, so respect my wishes, please, which is quite fun. Yeah. I think it brings forward some very fun topics of leadership and what does it mean to be, in control of people, right? The Scarecrow, although smart and wise in some ways, is not benevolent, nor is he powerful, and therefore his leadership is seen as not worthy, and he gets revolted against, right? And then you also have Glinda, who is this mix of a lot of things, right? Of being incredibly powerful, but also incredibly smart, right? And so therefore she's given basically whatever she wants. I think it's also very interesting because it brings forward this concept of what does good actually mean, because Glinda is only ever described as being good in these first 2 books, but Glinda is also by far is pretty much the only person that readily thinks about, I'm going to threaten to kill people, which is fascinating, right? Or I'm going to kill you on purpose, right? The other deaths that we've had have all been kind of on accident. Yeah. Fun, quick book. That's The Marvelous Land of Oz.